Hello, I am doing a Screencastify video tutorial on using Anchor FM, anchor.fm, to create podcasts for students, just in case anyone is interested. I know there's a million different platforms to do everything that we would want to do out there. This is what I use for speaking tests for students. It's great for differentiation as well. I record myself. I publish it as a podcast. But I just hyperlink my recordings in Google Classroom and on my daily slideshows for my students. Students can subscribe to my podcast, or they can just get the individual assignments. And then they have free accounts that they set up with Anchor.fm with their Google credentials, their Stillicum credentials, and they record their responses by using another window and making their own podcasts. For speaking tests. And so I'm able to evaluate interpersonal communication without taking the kids in the hall, something that is, of course, not practical now at all anyway. But this is an expedient way for me to do speaking tests and have spontaneous, in quotes, conversations with students. So I figure I would show people who were interested, including some new students who came on at the semester and haven't necessarily done this much. So you create your account. You also can get sponsorships, but we're not going to do that right now. I'm going to click on New Episode, and automatically this is what will pop up. Record. And you'll have to enable, oftentimes, I don't know if you can see, you can't see where I've done my mouse, but you will see this. So, you'll get the message saying enable microphone or video. Mine is enabled from many a Zoom meeting, so I will start recording now. This is a test. This is only a test. This is a test of the emergency broadcast system. So that tiny little audio clip will become part of my library. And as you can see here, I've got lots of things in my library. So the podcast window is where my head is right now. You can drag and drop. I'm going to drag myself out of there and cover up the money. So click to upload or drop audio here. I'm going to take this now that it's ready. It's been processed. First, I'm going to edit. See, there's the little pencil there, just so it has a name that makes more sense. Test. That's the VSCO title of that. All right. Drag that bad boy over. There. Has to go under. It's a little fiddly. Then I'm going to put in just random things that would not be of interest to you, just to show you. So different audio recordings that I've done for different things. Here's a podcast I did for a speaking test, I think. That's before I learned how to title things. All right. So you can put audio clips there. You can see the three little dots and the music notes. You can actually split this into multiple segments. And let's say you recorded something and then you want to stop and have students answer in the middle of what you've said. You can do that. Again, you can download the file and do other things with it. You can remove from the episode. I like to add music. You can add music to your whole podcast. That will just go intro and then as you play out. And this is really cool, but it's extremely time consuming. I don't let students do this in class when they're doing their own. You choose the mood. Gathering stasis. Let's find out what that sounds like. Ominous. I try to keep things light.
This is a test. This is only
I try to keep things light and not too stressful for the kids. Every once in a while I'll do beats, especially if I have a really hip-hop minded class. Or I'll do whimsical or calm. They already think I'm cheesy, so I use a lot of that. Come on. We're going for that one. So then I'm going to press...
This is a test. This is only a test.
Apply. Anybody else know how to get this screen down? Okay. So that's going to be the background music, and it just will play loudly and then play out. Obviously, you can see that I have in this one music already because that was an entire podcast that I did. Now, another thing you can do is add transitions. So what I did for the test that I just wrote for my Spanish 4 kids today was I put a sound effect every time I wanted them to answer or to pause the recording. Generally, I don't let them pause the recording because I don't want them to read. I don't want them to prepare or research. But in this particular case, the level of rigor was high enough. The kids really needed to know what they were talking about. So, excuse me, I'm in a rocking chair, so I'm a little rocky. I will do it tells you how long each one is. Let's see. That one's too long. I'm going to go for one that's 0. That's painful. What about backspin? Also painful. There. Bongo drums, of course. That's what I'm going to use. So I'm just going to, again, hold on. I need to get there. It added to the episode. You can do it with the plus, but you also can drag and drop it. I don't know why it's not working for me. And then within the episode itself, I can move. Probably should just put my stylus away. Maybe that's affecting this. I can move the sound effect. Okay, well, you can see what I'm doing. Sorry. I changed something on here. You can see there it is. I don't know why it's acting so weird. That I can pick it up and move anything where I want to move it. Sorry that took so long. Anyway, so let's say I'm satisfied with that. I can preview. I can save episode. Let's preview. See, the intro music
This
is there.
This is a test. This is only a test. This is a test of the emergency broadcast system.
Give the outro music.
En tu opinión, es más importante la estructura y...
Okay, so you got the gist of that. I'm going to save the episode. I can save it as a draft and then access it later, or I can publish it now. I'm going to call this test. This is a tutorial of Anchor FM. It's not video, it's just audio. Normally I would just save this as a draft, but I'll show you what a published one looks like. So it's here. Students, when they access it, all-time or monthly, their plays will be recorded. So I'm going to show you episodes. If you go to your episodes when you're done, or when you've given an assignment, I can actually see the length of the episodes, and I can also see how many plays each episode has. So La Moda Practice, this was a practice test for my students. It was not accessed as many times as it should be. 48 is not even half of my students who needed to take the test. And 48 plays could be 20 kids doing it that many times. So this one had more, 74 kids, or 74 plays, I should say, the interpersonal speaking from chapter 1. And I walked kids through this whole process a few times. Now I have this tutorial that can help. So anyway, this one, the La Ortografía y la Real Academia Española, I just gave this assignment today, as you can see by the date, and I know exactly who that is that played it. I told them I would have it done by 1, and I just barely did. So that's the episode's dashboard. I don't find the dashboard particularly useful. to me, but you can see. You can look at your public site as well. That was my daughter hugging a tree in Point Defiance is the cover. So this is what the students would see. And then they see all the published podcasts. So I hope that helps. I know that everybody is overwhelmed with options. It's not so much what do we do, it's what do we not do. But I do like this. I also like that when my students, when they turn something in on this, what they do is I make them copy the URL. So they download their podcast and then copy the URL and put that into Google Classroom, because the way that I can access it no matter how they do it, but the way that plays allows me to scrub through their audio, and then I don't have to listen to myself talk, and I don't need to listen to all of their answers if I'm looking for a particular data point or pronunciation or cultural information, anything specific. I can go to the actual minute mark that I think that answer will be at and spot check. Much more efficient to grade that way. I know there are better ways, but I just try to make it as simple as I can for my students to turn things in so that they do. Anyway, I feel like I should give some sort of, like or follow, click blah, blah, blah in the comments, but this is not YouTube. So hope that's helpful. Goodbye. Once I get off Screencastify, which takes me a while. I'm like my grandma hanging up the phone.